Vincenzo was easily one of the best K-dramas I've seen to date. I actually only ended up watching the show because people praised it for being one of the best K-dramas ever, and I see why they say that now. Everything was so perfect in the show. The cast and storytelling was like no other. Now, I do have to say that this was my first action/crime K-drama that I've watched, so I might be a little biased in this review. I feel like I should have watched some different action/crime shows before watching this so I could really appreciate this show. If you've seen my videos on this channel, you know I usually focus on rom-coms for the most part, but I decided to take a break for once and watch a show everyone has been saying to watch, and I was not disappointed. When I first saw this show had a whopping 20 episodes, I kinda shied away from it. That being because it was gonna take up an immense amount of time to watch the show. I gotta say now that I wish it had more episodes, as every episode had me wanting to watch more and more. A lot of shows nowadays do not have that effect on me, but Vincenzo did. It may have just been because it's my first crime show I've watched, or it might have been because that's how good the show actually was. Before I continue, I wanted to mention that I recognized a couple of actors from previous shows that I had watched. Lee Cho-wook, or also known as Mr. Lee, was in Crash Landing on You if you've watched that show. I was very happy to see him in another popular show, as he did such a great job in that role for Crash Landing on You. If you haven't watched Crash Landing on You yet, then you gotta go watch it. It's by far, in my opinion, the best rom-com K-drama out there. The second actor that I recognized was Song Yeop, who was in Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha. He was another familiar face and was really great in his role as the CEO of Woosan. He did such a great job in Hometown, and it was great to see him get a bigger role in a K-drama. I know I'm all over the place here, but I wanted to talk about the ending of the show a bit. I was expecting this show to have an actual happy ending, but as we all know, that didn't happen. Instead, it had a semi-happy ending as Vincenzo and Chaeyoung shared a kiss and then left us wanting more in terms of their story. I really wish that they would have gotten together and gotten married, but I guess I was asking for too much. At least the ending wasn't all that bad, as he did mention that he left her a room in his private island in Malta. I guess we can only speculate what that means. There have been rumors of a season 2 of this show, so if it does end up happening, we can assume that they will officially get back together. I want to touch on Hanso a bit, as he was my favorite character in the show. I didn't like him at first, as we all thought he was the one running the company early on, and we were proved wrong. But my point being, he was just as pushover when he was introduced to us. He turned himself into an actual CEO of the company by the end of the show. It was sad though seeing him getting killed in the final episodes, as I really wanted to see him sit on the throne finally and be free of his brother. I liked his and Vincenzo's story a lot, as Vincenzo was like an actual brother to Hanso instead of his real one. That was why I was even more sad when they killed him off. I knew the writers were going to kill him off eventually, but I had that little glimmer of hope that he would come out on top of all of this. The one thing I do have to critique about this show is I didn't like how someone kept getting arrested in an episode, and before that episode could even end, they get out. That was the one thing I didn't like, as I assumed by the end of the episode that person would get out, and they usually would. So whenever someone big from the show got arrested, I didn't really care, as I knew some way they would get out of jail. That was my only critique of the show. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the romance between Vincenzo and Chaeyoung. This show wasn't a romance or a rom-com by any means, but I would have loved to see more in that aspect. I'm coming from strictly watching rom-coms, and this show really lacked in that department. I knew the show wasn't a rom-com, but I still would have liked to see more romance from the main actors. But when they did have romance scenes together, they crushed it. Like, for instance, when they were at the art gallery and Vincenzo had to propose and kiss his supposed wife. Or during the end of the show, when they met up again after 1 year and finally we got a long-awaited kiss. Vincenzo also did a fantastic job in the show. The actor absolutely killed it. I loved how Vincenzo never had gotten seriously hurt in this show until the end, and that gave off actual mafia vibes for him, as we saw he was very cunning and smart with all the moves he made in the show. I actually thought early on, since he was so unstoppable, that he would probably not even get shot or badly injured in the show, but I was wrong. I also really enjoyed Jungwoo's character. I early on in the show had no idea he was going to be the main villain. He was introduced to us as an intern at Woosan, so when we did finally find out he was the main villain, I was pretty shocked. He went to some extreme lengths in this show to kill some people, and he also was very smart in his own right as well. This show was truly one of the best K-dramas I've seen, and I would recommend everyone to watch it at least once. For my rating, I give the show a 9.5 out of 10. Now, you might be saying, why don't you just give it a 10? And I explained earlier in this video that there was one aspect I did not like in this show. If that aspect had been cleaned up, then this would have easily been a 10 out of 10 show for me, but it is very close to a 10. Before I end this video, I wanted to pose a question to you. Would you rather see reviews like this that are more informal and chill, or reviews like I have been making for the True Beauty and the Fabulous review? What I mean by that is, would you rather see in-depth reviews of the show or just only strictly reviews? The in-depth reviews just take way longer to make instead of these videos. I'll put a comment in the comment section and please let me know what type of reviews you'd like to see from me. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I'll be back reviewing a show called The Interest of Love on Netflix. Peace.